Hey everybody, Chris here. Dogecoin is under pressure along with Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market. What's going on? We're going to talk about that in this video. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel. Hit that little notification bell too. You can be notified when my videos come out, as well as when I do live streams. And we were live on Wednesday afternoon. We were watching Dogecoin recover, but overnight we have a little tailing back off and key moving averages are in question, as well as liquidity. Leverage trading does seem to be guiding and controlling this market. Let's take a look at it. Let me show you the charts of the news. I'll show you what I'm looking at. And we start here looking at the current Dogecoin chart. We're at 16.15, holding above 16 cents, but there's weakness in the crypto market this morning as we start. Bitcoin is at about 1025, failed to hold 103. Last night we were up at 104, but that is again showing some weakness in the market overall. We'll get back to these charts in a minute and zoom out and look at some bigger time frames. But first, well, US just logged the longest government shutdown ever. So 35 days and counting on the current US government shutdown. People ask, why does this affect crypto? It's just like market uncertainty, right? The markets are forward looking. And while this continues, US being a big key player in economics around the world, and particularly for trading and markets, as long as this continues, we're going to have this kind of wait and see mode in the markets, which means a lot of buyers sitting on the sidelines, waiting to see how this plays out. Maybe they can get lower prices, right, as prices drift down. But also, again, it's like, where's this going to go? How long is this going to last? And all of that uncertainty is really tough for the riskier assets. Now we see gold holding very well. We see the stocks, after that big run are just kind of holding where they are now. We'll have some up and down days, of course, but that's the overall framework. And look, it's like, when do we go to McDonald's, right? When are we going to all right, this is it. Our portfolios aren't recovering. We better go get a job. Is that what we're facing? And what about these CME gaps? Again, I called this, right? CME gap down at 93 that never closed, right? And you get all these guys saying, look, it's like, it's got to close. CME gaps always close, even though I've shown many times, not only this one, but many others didn't close during bull cycles. Now, if we go down to 92.4, right? If Bitcoin goes down to 92.4, what is the next move? Is the next move after that back up, or is it going to fall lower? That will be a key symbol to me, whether we're in a bear market. Bitcoin CME gaps never matter until they do. 97, 92.4 left behind. Liquidity loves gravity. This could be the flush that resets the board. Same fear, same setup every time. And I'm just like, well, first, doesn't necessarily have to close. And second, if it does, that could be a signal that we're in a bear market. People have been asking me what I think. That's what I think right there. So we'll see how that plays out again. We have had these pullbacks before, though, during this entire bull run for Bitcoin. Now, I know altcoins do not have this same chart. Altcoins have not performed as Bitcoin has. But from the beginning of 2023, Bitcoin has had many pullbacks of over 20%. And we are in another one right now that is currently around 21% pullback from its most recent all-time high just about a month ago. Is this another pullback before Bitcoin turns around and goes higher? These drawdowns have happened before, and people freaking out. And of course, alts are down at a higher percentage because that's how alts trade. But again, just putting that out there. Also, we have a high percentage of Bitcoin now that has been purchased that are sitting in loss. So we have this spike up now as Bitcoin price has come down, where a lot of people were buying up at 120, 125. I bought a little, right? 125, remember? That was an all-time high for a while. And that's in a loss. And so what typically happens here? Well, every time we've had one of these dips, in Bitcoin over the past few years, what happens? Bitcoin price goes up and less percentage of the overall Bitcoin held that is in a loss goes down. So this is a cycle that we've had, and we would expect Bitcoin price to come back up again, and the percentage of Bitcoin that's held in wallets that is in a loss would go down. The simple moving average, 50-week moving average, right? You have to have the weekly close below it, and then you have to have confirmation of that for bear market. Again, that's about 102.8 right now on Bitcoin for a weekly close. And, we were just looking at CME gaps down in the 93, range, but that would be the kind of move that would then signal a bear market as well. And we were looking at this during the live stream yesterday, and we're at that kind of key point right there. And that is under pressure, right? That's going under pressure. In previous cycles, 2017, big cycle top. 2021, big cycle top. Is this it? Is this all we get? Kind of weak, actually. And we look at the RSI blow-offs, and this is what I wanted to come back to. If we go out to the monthly, and we zoom way out, and we look at the RSI and Dogecoin, right? Huge blow-off in 2021, just giant RSI blow-off. You see that all shaded in green there. Yeah, we haven't had that. Even the 2024 run that we had, we just touched over 70 here on the RSI, but we didn't have that big blow off. It didn't happen. I got my magnet here, right? Trying to get the Dogecoin price back up. We had the gifts, right? Buying in low. That's what we would expect in this typical 4-year cycle market. Maybe the 4-year cycles are done though, and we're just going to see this RSI just right around 50 and just kind of churn sideways. Bitcoin, same thing. We zoom out and we say, look, we can go all the way back to 2013, big blow-off top in the RSI. 2017, big blow-off top in the RSI. Same with 2021. It hasn't happened. We haven't had that this cycle. And we go to the logarithmic scale, which he was just showing, and it's just like on the logarithmic, yeah, you get these big runs up, right? And these are the Bitcoin halvings, right? Still have them on my chart for the 4-year cycles. 2021, big run. This has just been slow and steady up, more like gold, right? Just slow and steady churning up, which could be what the cycles come now in crypto due to all the institutional buying, the governments, big, from MicroStrategy to MetaPlanet to all of those that are creating treasuries, right? And we lose a lot of that volatility then, and maybe that's where we end up. We would expect, though, that we would bounce off, right? If we continue that move up, we would expect that this is the dip and we bounce back higher, right? So that would be the move, right? Bouncing higher, and we would get that bounce on the charts. Liquidity, though, as we're kind of in the sideways trading mode, still rules. And every time we have the big drop, like October 10th, right? That huge sweep of liquidity, right? But then you have that follow-up sweep. Prices move up to take out shorts. And then what happens? You get all this long side again, right? And so what do the market makers do? They dump the price again. We talk about this. This is what moves the markets. It's the perps, right? It's all this leverage trading that continues because all of these big traders aren't happy enough buying spot on a dip and enjoying the gains when the price goes up. No, they're trading 5, 10, 20x leverage because that is what has worked for them before. Alert, new whale opens 20x Bitcoin and XRP short. So they're shorting too, right? With 20x leverage. It's like, yep. The open interest, right? The futures trading, well, it's on both sides, up and down. We're just waiting for those big shorts to get swept. But look at this. The look on chain has this very interesting, stay away from high leverage trading. It might bring you big profits at first, but in the end, it'll wipe out everything you've earned. Just ask all these traders, right? So they've highlighted all these guys. Some of them started up with some big trades, right? and we're making a lot of money, like James Wynn, right? And he's boasting like, look at all this money I'm making, right? And then he continues, and what happens? He gets wiped out. Tens of millions of dollars of losses. And that's where he is right now. And you get these others, which are like slow and steady, right? I'm winning. A few losses every now and then. Big loss, say, I'm going to make it back, starts to make it back, and then he just gets dumped on. Same with this guy, right? And these are huge. Tens of millions of dollars of losses. Some right from the start. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to jump on. And these are traders that most people think are actually, good traders, and they have some history here. And here's one that, just made a ton of money and just didn't take profits and get out, right? They just kept trading and they lost it all. So be careful out there. How about Doge? We're in fear, right? We're at fear and greed index says 30. We're in fear right now with Doge. Trying to hold 16.2. Buyers are fighting heavy outflows, trend line pressures, right? They're all on Doge. We're trying to figure out what's going on. We have another failed breakout attempt because they've just government shut down and like all of the sentiment is really low right now. A lot of money are sitting on the sides, right? Waiting to see what happens because they're afraid, right? That we're in a bear market and we're trying to hold these levels. We're trying to hold these levels, but the momentum isn't there yet. And then we've got Trader Allen, of course, a little tongue in cheek here, right? Looking at this chart. This is zoomed out, looking at the 4-year cycles. But he's being silly. It's flipped, right? The whole thing is flipped. You would look at this chart and you would say, yeah, right? Big dump, start to recover, big dump, start to recover. What would come next would be the big dump. But this is a reverse image, right? You flip it over and you're like, wait, right? This is actually going to go up to $1 or $2 or more because it's all flipped. Trader Allen being sneaky on us, but hey, that could be the move, right? And what's going to cause that move? Well, maybe it's our wild card, Mr. Elon. Fossil says, look, Doge history repeating. Look at this. Back in January 21, Elon's first tweet lit the fuse. Well, technically, Elon was already tweeting in 2020, right? But the big one that was right here, which is early 2021, but it was tied into a lot of other things going on with GameStop and AMC and all that stuff. The Redditors, Wall Street Bets, they were in on Doge too. So that was a lot of it. This wasn't all Elon, but Elon, when the price of Doge started spiking, Elon was all on board with it and he was tweeting like crazy back here. Crazy times, right? And this percentage rise, even though it looks really small, was huge. And look at the volume trading. The volume has never been as big as it was late January, early February 2021. Doge has never had that volume again. But this is what can happen, is the excitement in Doge around a figure like Elon Musk. And guess what? He just tweeted, it's time. It's time. Is that a signal, right? I know we don't want to all rely on Elon, but do you really want to sell right now? Do you really want to sell right now when something big could happen coming forward? I'm not. Now I did take profits, yes. Because I had a goal this cycle and I've reached that goal. I did what I wanted to do and now everything else is, I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see what happens and I'm excited about what happens. But there's no doubt, right? There is pressure going on. And that pressure right now, particularly with the ETFs on Bitcoin, right? Because we're seeing those ETFs aren't like everybody holding, right? They're like, they sell too when the markets look bad. And so Bitcoin still leads the market, 60%, dominance. And as Bitcoin goes, so goes the rest of the market. But so far, we've had a lot of the downward pressure here over the past few months. And with that, alts have been dropping more at a higher percentage. And so there's a lot of negativity in the market. So a decision time is coming soon, and we'll see how that plays out. But Bitcoin overall, still fighting that 50-week moving average. There's the weekly here. There's the 50. We're like right there, right at that decision point. So we'll watch how that plays out. Of course, Dogecoin, again, falls at a higher percentage, trying to hold our upward sloping support line right now for Dogecoin. So that's where we are. Let me know in the comments below how you feel. Are you waiting? Are you just can't wait to get out, right? Hodling though, and if you gotta wait, you don't want to round trip at another 4 years. Are we still in 4-year cycles? Is this going to be just an extended cycle going forward? A lot of things coming for not only Dogecoin, but the whole crypto market as well, as the government shutdown is kind of delaying like all of these big things coming for crypto. We'll be watching that. Give the video a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate the support. We'll see you next time.